Okay, so this is my video for Intro to C2, getting into command and control using Armitage. I think it's Armitage. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm bad with pronouncing stuff. Um, but the introduction was just like learning about what it is, what we need to know about it, stuff like that, which would be the red team um side of it in a way. So then you learn about the control and command, the framework, and how there's the victims, command, control, and the operator. They're the ones that control it and everything. So the C2 ones would be literally everyone attached to that, and the attacker has access to the C2. And so agents are the ones that listen. That is a program generated to call back to the listener, and the listeners are the ones that run things like DNS, HTTP, or HTTPS, and the beacons are the process of the agent calling back to the user, um, the listener. Um, when you want to identify it, you tend to see the traffic looks with TCP 443, and it does it every 5 seconds. Um, and then jitter, but and so once you do that, and then you learn about the different payloads. So there's a stages payload, the staged payload, then different formats from the scripts to the JScripts, different types of scripts, documents, then the modules, which is the POSIX facilitation module, the pivoting module, then the domain fronting, the C2 profiling, and then you just answer the questions, which was what is a term that communicates back. Agent jitters is when you have random delay values. Dropper is whenever the first portion of the stage payload, and then what is the name of the communication that allows access to restricted network segments in 139 and 445, which is SMB beacon. Kind of just reading through the notes, little things to learn about that. The next thing is learning about there's a free and then there's the paid frameworks, which would be much more advanced. Of course, the premium and the paid ones would be much more advanced. So the third one is, of course, the Metaxploit. The Metaxploit is one that we used last week and this week that I recorded this video of 6.3 with the Metainterpreter. Um, I feel like the Metaxploit is much easier for me. Maybe it's because I learned that. That's what I feel much more comfortable with. And then Armitage, it seems it is an extension, be and it allows you to be a little bit better because it has some different features that Metaxploit doesn't have. But it seems it's really fast and really easy to start hacking, so that's pretty cool. And then the PowerShell Empire Star Killer, I don't know what that is. From what Sarah said, she said that she mainly did Metaxploit and Armitage. I might have to do a little bit more research about this one, the Exploit Empire, or the Star one, or the Covenant. This one, which is another free one, and then Silver. Is I don't really know about this because we haven't talked about the Metaxploit, so those would be ones that I would probably do much more research on because they do the same thing, but I might want to see which one I feel the most comfortable with. From the based on the two that we know, which is Armitage and Metaxploit, that I probably would go more towards Metaxploit, but that's just me. Then there's the paid frameworks, the Brute, and there's other different frameworks, but these are the main two that I mentioned. So it's just like learning about stuff that is out in the wild. Setting up Armitage, since we are setting up Armitage, um, this part, Sarah mentioned it, and when I was attempting to do this yesterday, when I was attempting to do this yesterday, I skipped it because that's what this says, but you're not supposed to skip it. It did follow literally everything line by line. So of course, Sarah explained how to set up Armitage, so downloading, building, and installing, and how to run basically these parts. She mentioned about doing this part in the attack box. I did it in the attack box because it just was something easier to do on the attack box. I could have done it on my own Kali box, but I just decided to do it on the one because it was just much more easier. Everything was already set up and stuff, so I was just following step by step everything, and then what Sarah mentioned about everything. And then you have to, sorry, we talked about asking the servers to listen locally, and you do that in Armitage. This is doing it from what I remember. We were trying to do it on Armitage, so we did it on Armitage. So we did it through interpreter, and it started to do a reversed handler on the one that it needs to be. Yeah, they explained it. So this is doing it on my interpreter to do it. But you get the same thing if you do it on Armitage. Armitage is a bit longer because you have to let it not mess with it. But you get to deploy these different listeners, and with the listeners, you see that DNS is the one that cannot easily access the internet. The listener that's only a network restricted to a network one is SMB, and then the one that deals with firewalls is HTTPS, which is answering these kind of like these questions. But you get to attempt to do it on Armitage in that part. The next thing is just the sample exploitation. So I did it with Armitage because it was just much more easier. So did quick scan, did it on the specific range, which would be the IP address that you are given, the target one. Once you do that, you go to Eternal Blue. You put that exploit into it, and once you do that, you will get to a interpreter shell. So you can simply just, that makes it much more easier to do it. I did it on Armitage, so I did it different. I did this Metaxploit separately because when I was attempting it yesterday, I did it on Metaxploit because that was something I understood much better. So I just followed this step by step, and it's pretty easy to. It was much more. I liked it. It was much more faster in a way to get it. That's just me. That's just me because well, it's just launching Metaxploit and doing the Eternal Blue, and then just putting hash dump. And you do the same thing with Armitage. You can just put hash dump and it gives you the same thing. But yeah, that's just putting the hashes in there. That's it for that one. And then we talked about the redirector, which should be basically as it says, redirects, redirects everything. Yeah, so it basically redirects it into a specific, however you want to run it, which is usually different things, but it's just basically doing the redirecting. So this one, I just followed this kind of thing. I made sure this from Sarah didn't mention this, but yeah, this is correct from me doing it. I did it on this, but if you don't have it, yeah, so it's just following this. But anyways, you just continue following this with the attack box. It already has majority of this installed, so it's kind of just following that. It says there's already a service running. You just change it to listen to this, and you have to do that before you start the servers. Um, so I did that, and then when I put install, it said it was already installed, so just moved on. And then I just put the next command to start enabling stuff. Once I did that, it was very much easier. And then we did this with interpreter, same thing. You get very much a HTTPS payload with interpreter, same thing. Kind of getting it in the other ones. You have to then open Wireshark on. Then you just transfer it to the victim. You open up Wireshark and you use the filters to view the HTTPS request, and you execute, and you will notice that you have a modified user agent. And now that means you can control. So you can change it to the agent, not saying not interpreters, and then just continuing and forwarding it to the C2 server. Very simple. Then just modifying the Apache config file. Just it's basic that. Just changing it a little. And once you do that, because you get to see how it's constructed, and you might want to add some little lines and see what it does, but it's pretty simple. Then you just follow, you just cat this and see what that is. Then you set up and you want to set up read my interpreter correctly, but you would do it a little bit different because you would use your redirector and then the endpoint that you would like. That was it. Because this is kind of just learning how to do the Metasploit redirector and stuff. And you will see that you run a reverse shell with the IP addresses that you choose. But you have multiple things you can do it for. And so you just answer the questions for this, which is HTTPS user agent and HTTPS host header. And that was it. So then the recap is just being able to apply it to the internet. But because if everyone in the red team will use this, so might as well learn it because it's literally one of the things that they use a lot. Then just talking about why you would use it, stuff like that. But it was basically it. It wasn't a difficult task, especially because probably the hardest part was actually the setup because me sucks at explaining. But the rest of it, once you have it set up, it's kind of just following instructions and that's it. But yeah, that's my video.